Welcome back to my channel. Thank you, you for coming back to my channel. So this video, as you see the topic, we're going to be talking about some church folk, things that people want to talk about. So grab a snack, boom, and let's chat. Guys, let me tell you, this is a topic that many don't like to talk about because it's so controversial, it's so opinionated, it's so heavily, I feel like it's misconstrued. Like people just take things from the Bible and they create their own narrative and they create their own interpretation and they just run with it. And then they apply it to their situations or other situations, not their own, because they're judging everybody else but themselves. Anyway, so let's get into it. So let me tell you my story. So basically, I was, I think 24, and I was in church. And you know, boom, 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 you know, church was over. And as church is over, you walk out the double doors, and then all of like the pastors, the elders, and deacons and deaconess are lined up. So you can shake their hand and say, you know, hey, thank you, happy Sabbath, whatever. So it was my turn. And sometimes I get nervous, sometimes I don't, depending on who it is. But I was pulling up. I was walking up to the pastor. The pastor looked at me. Mind you, there's people in front of me and people in the back of me. And the pastor's like, you know, Kiana, you need to get baptized again. And I'm like, why? He's like, well, you had a baby outside wedlock. So at the time, my daughter was a few months. And yeah, he thought it was appropriate to tell me that I had to get baptized again because I had a baby outside wedlock. It doesn't work like that. So I got really frustrated. It annoyed me. So for my biggest thing with anything in life, it's not about what you say, it's about how you say it and where you say it and your intentions behind saying it. And so for me, I felt like as a pastor, 1, who does that? 2, there's people around, and 3, who are you to tell me what I need to do? When it comes to baptism, it's not your mom said, your dad said, your pastor said you need to get baptized. It's when you feel convicted or called by God to get baptized. That's a decision that you and God make, not anybody else. So don't let anybody pressure you into doing something, 1, especially baptism, that you might not even know about. 2, you know, you're not ready for it. Don't let anybody tell you what you need to do in regards to that. So for me, it blew me. It pissed me off in every aspect of my life. And then, you know, so backstory, I was adopted into this religion. So I was adopted into the Adventist religion when I was 10. And so before that, I was Baptist, I guess. And so everything was so different. Like you went to church on Saturdays, whereas Baptists go on Sunday and everybody else go on Sunday. But Adventists go on Saturday, and you can't eat pork. You can't, like, there's just many things that you can't do. And for me personally, how I feel is that it's okay to have rules, guidelines, structure, because that's what you need in order for things to operate properly. But I feel like in the Christian community or in the religious communities is that they add on so many rules that make people not want to go to church. There's so many judgmental people in the church that it literally steers people away because it's just like, yo, what is, like, it is not that serious. Like for me, and so that's what I learned as I grew up. Now that I'm 35, I don't consider myself a religious person. I consider myself a spiritual person, meaning I believe in having my own personal relationship with Christ. I do attend, you know, church on Zoom, but I do not classify myself as a Seventh-day Adventist. And I feel like, and I still don't eat certain things like pork and stuff like that, but I feel like it's important to understand and to know that you have a choice, to understand and know that you have your own opinions and you can read the Bible and have your own interpretation. And if you're convicted, then do so. If you're not, then, you know, it is what it is. But for me, I think one of my biggest things with church people is that they're judgmental. And for me, I hate that. I can't stand a judgmental person. Like I can't stand when someone just automatically judge somebody. Like for me, I have 2 kids. I'm not married. I've never been married, but all I see is 2 kids. And you know, that's a problem for some people. Mind your business. Like, are you sleeping at night? Are you not sleeping at night? Like, why would I do bother you so much? But it's a problem for people. It's a problem for a lot of people in the church. And unfortunately, that's their business. Because that's between me and Christ. Like if I feel like I want to have 5 kids, I don't. But if I want to have several kids, you know, outside of wedlock, if that's what I want to do, that's what I'm going to do. Again, I'm not having any more kids, but I want people to understand, and even those who are Christian, that you have to, they say church is a hospital. So if we see church as a hospital, when you go to a hospital, you don't see patients that are bleeding. You know, you see patients that have lung problems, patients that got hit, patients that got, you know, respiratory issues. There's so many different patients that come to this one place, and their whole reason for coming to this one place is to get better, to feel better. So if we're treating a church like a hospital, then don't you think there's different varieties of people? Like there's different variety of people that come to this church to learn, to grow, and to potentially be who God has called them to be, and to understand and to know and to learn. But I think people sometimes backtrack because it's like before they can even learn, grow, and even potentially teach, it's hard because there's so much judgment getting passed on to them. And so I'm the type of person where I don't care. I'm going to do what I want to do, and it is what it is. And I'm not saying like I'm in these streets and I'm smoking and drinking and all that. I'm not doing any of that. But if I feel like one day I want to have a drink, I don't care who scolds me. Scold me all day. I don't care. If one day I decide to, you know, go to a lounge where there's loud music, I'm going to do so. But I really think that people, like I said, need to understand that it's just not about what you feel, and it's not about your representation or your opinions or what you believe. You have to allow that person to grow within themselves. You have to allow that person to be who they are, and to allow God to mold them the way he feels that they need to be molded, but not for you to pass so much judgment to the point that they leave. There was a situation where there's not a situation, there's this person that was in a church a few years ago who was the most judgmental girl. When I'm telling y'all, she was the most judgmental human being I've ever met in my life. And because she was so judgmental, and because she had this whole, well, that's what God said, and that's what Jesus said, and that's what you need to do, and it made me really, like, I couldn't stand her. I really couldn't stand her. Like, it got to a point where I'm just like, yo, if this is what her God, you know, says we should do, then maybe that's just not for me. Maybe I shouldn't even, like, I should just leave it all alone completely. Because if that's the God she served, and that's the God who she says that this, not, then I don't want to, like, wearing, so for instance, colored hair, no. Having your Cleveland, I call it Cleveland, but your cleavage out, no. Makeup, no. Tight clothes, no. Clothes above your knee, no. Nail polish, no. It's like, who are you? And then even some men are so judgmental, like your clothes are distracting, your appearance is distracting. This is distracting. Who is it distracting you? Don't look. Like, are you coming to look at me at church, or are you coming to get a word? So it's like, it's mind-boggling to me that people can literally, their mission to going to church is to make sure people feel like trash. I'm not saying everybody, I'm not saying all churches, but some people in the church make you feel like you're not wanted. They make you feel, or they make it known that you are not baptized, or you're not a believer, or you're not this, you're not on their pedestal or their level. They want you to make sure that they're here and you're here, and you know, until you get there by your actions, then you're just gonna be down here. So it's like, what do you do? For me, I had to learn that I don't need to please anybody. I don't need to conform to anybody's opinions or beliefs. I strongly believe that because I let go of the title of a Christian or Adventist, that I have a closer relationship with Christ. I have a closer relationship with God, and for me, I feel better knowing that I have chosen to make it my priority to get to know God and not to get to know religion, because it's easy to get sucked up in something that you don't understand and people just feed you so much foolishness. But it's better for you just to either, one thing that I do is that I have Bible apps. I have a 360 Bible app. I have like daily devotionals. I have the Bible app, which gives you a lot of good context. And, you know, in the Bible also, or with the Bible app, you have different variations, different versions. So, you know, the King James Version is something that I do not understand. So I go down to the New Living Translation, so they'll just break it down for you a little more so you can understand and retain it. And so that's something that I do daily, and I have a journal, I journal about it, but for me, I'm not going to conform to the world, but I'm not also going to conform to what other people think that I should be, or what other people think that I should be doing, because that's just not me. And I want everybody to know that it's okay to be in a religion. It's okay to, you know, have a high position in the church. But if your attitude behind it is to scold people and let people know that you're higher than they are, then perhaps that's not your calling. Perhaps you really need to seek Christ. But yeah, I definitely enjoy attending church. You know, I do go to church. Like I said, I go to Zoom, and the Zooms that I go to, I love them. But, you know, it's not something that I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm this, and I'm just so proud to be this. And no, because at the end of the day, my priority is my salvation and making it to heaven, and not me stepping into a church and then saying, oh, I went to church this week. Oh, I went to church last week. What does that mean? You go to church 1 week, what do I mean? But your soul's still dirty. Your mind's still crazy. So it's like, it's just too much. It's too much. So focus on yourself. Focus on your salvation. Focus on what, you know, convicts you, and don't allow anybody to control you or tell you what this or what to wear, what not to do. No. If the church is a hospital, that means that anybody can come in and get something from it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.